So the topic today is the topic of detachment in the Bhagavad Gita. In the Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna explains to Arjuna the system of Dhyan Yoga, Arjuna is taken aback. He feels that this system of Dhyan Yoga, which Krishna is recommending, is unendurable, that it is impossible to take up. And he goes on to give the reason for this. He says, Chanchalahi mana Krishna pramati balavadridam tasyaham nigraham manye vayuriva sudhustaram. He says, my mind is restless, it is turbulent, it is obstinate. To try to control my mind is like trying to control the wind. That's why it's impossible for me to do. Can you control the wind? Can you control your mind? And Krishna reassures him. And in reassuring him, Krishna gives him the two secrets to controlling the mind. And Krishna tells Arjun, Asamshaya Mahabao Mana Durnigram Chalam. He says, indubitably, undoubtedly, strong-armed one, Mahabao, the mind is very difficult to control. Mana Durnigram Chalam. But he says, it can be controlled by two secrets. Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena chikriyate. One is you can do it through constant practice, and the other, he says, is through detachment. Vairagyena chikriyate. So this is very important to understand that as we acquire, as we increase our practice of our sadhana, which is doing everything for Krishna. Yat karoshi, yad ashnasi, yat juhosi, dadasi, yat tapasyasi kaunteya, tad purusham adarpanam. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer, whatever you give away, whatever charities, whatever austerities you perform, everything Krishna says, do it for me. Man mana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskaru. Mam evaishyasi yuktevam atmanam matparayana. Always think of me, become my devotee, offer homage unto me, be completely absorbed in thoughts of me, and you will come to me without fail. For those of you who have been following these lectures from the beginning, I pointed out that if you can perform all actions with the idea of Om Tat Sat, that, oh Lord, this action I am performing for you, not for me. And you do this through the day. You see every action you are performing as a flower that is offered at Krishna's feet. Then at the end of the day, you sit down with your eyes closed, visualize all the flowers that you have offered at Krishna's feet, make them into a garland and hang them around Krishna's neck. And the heavier that garland, the lighter your heart. The lighter that garland, the heavier your heart. That is the law. So do everything for Krishna. The work that you do it to whatever perfection is possible. But don't expect anything in return. This is an offering to God. And it's an offering to God without expecting anything in return. Indeed, without any sense of doership either. And if you do this, you will find that your mind will become lighter and lighter and lighter. Your attachment to the world will become less and less and less. And if you find the time, especially in COVID times, if you can chant the Maha Mantra for 2 hours in the morning, that is roughly 16 malas in the morning, and 2 hours before you go to bed, another 16 malas in the evening. My guarantee to you is that within 15 days, you will experience detachment. You will experience contentment. You will experience a change in your mind and your heart. You will make more progress in those 15 days than you have made in the rest of your life. This is my assurance and guarantee. And if there is some issue, please contact me, email me. If you do not feel this difference. So far, I have not had anyone coming to contact, because those who follow what I tell them get the result. This is a guarantee. Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Projita Janati Yashu Vairagyam Jnanam Cha Yadahaitukam. So this detachment comes simultaneously with spiritual knowledge. And this spiritual knowledge and detachment comes spontaneously, it comes naturally, it comes effortlessly. It comes without your realizing it. You will see the change, and many of you are seeing the change in your lives. You will see that the small things bother you less and less. And as you progress, the big things will also bother you less and less. You will keep yourself occupied in remembering God and forgetting self, and remembering Krishna and forgetting self. And as you do that, you will come to a realization. What realization will you come to? Yaj jnatva na punarmoham evam yasyasi pandava sarva bhutani asheshani drakshasya atmanotami. You will realize that all things are but part of Him, they're in Him and they're His. You will actually begin to sense intuitively that God's hand is guiding your life. That the Lord is seated in your heart and He is taking you onward towards your destiny. And realizing this, you will know tremendous peace, and you will also experience great detachment from the world. This knowledge is promised to you in the Bhagavad Gita by Krishna. In the section where he describes what is knowledge, Krishna says, Asakta anavishwanga putra dara griha dishu. Krishna points out that you will experience a gradual sense of detachment from your wife, your husband, your child, your home. And because when this experience comes your way, and many of you are already experiencing this, you have to be very careful not to forget Krishna. Because those who experience detachment are frequently inclined to abandon their way of life. They leave their family, they leave their children, they leave their parents, they leave their jobs, they go and join some religious institution, they move into a temple, or they move into a monastery, or they move into a cave, or they go to the Himalayas. But that is not what Krishna wants. Krishna wants you to have detachment, but he wants you to have that detachment and live in the world. Padma patram ivam basa. Just like a lotus leaf that lies in water does not get wet, so also he wants you to remain in the world and yet be not attached to the world. This is very important because many people, when they experience this detachment, which comes very profoundly, and if you are doing what I am telling you, you will experience a profound sense of connection to God, and you will also experience a profound sense of detachment. And you will think, oh, now I am detached. Now what do I need all these things for? I was struggling needlessly within the world. Now let me go and join this organization. Let me shave my head and wear orange robes. Let me go to the Himalayas. Let me go to Haridwar or Rishikesh or Vrindavan or wherever I can find someone who will support me and where I can be constantly absorbed in God. This is against the principles of the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Sannyasas karma yogascha nihashreyasya karaubhau tayostu karma sannyasat karma yogo vishishyate. By abandoning the world as well as by working with devotion, both of them lead to connection with God. But between the two, working in a spirit of devotion is by far superior. Yes, you can go down by using the window, open the window and jump out. You will definitely reach down. Or you can go to your elevator, press the ground floor button, and you can go down. Both will take you down. But definitely going down in the elevator is by far superior. In fact, Krishna goes, if you haven't got the message, Krishna goes further to say, Sannyasastu mahavao dukkham aptum yogata yoga yukta munir brahma na chirenadi gacchati. One who renounces the world without having attained union with God, he attains only sorrow. Dukkham aptum, he gets sorrow. But one who works in the world performing his duties without delay, yoga yukta munir brahma, na chiren adi gacchati, very shortly attains the supreme. So detachment, I have no doubt that you will attain. I have no doubt. Just as I have no doubt that many of you have already attained. If you're following what I'm telling you from the lectures that have started, you 100% will get the benefit. You must experience detachment. You will find that sorrow will affect you less and less. You will find that you are conquering your mind. Rather, God is conquering your mind. Because as you remember God and forget self, you will conquer the mind. Jeetatmana prashantasya paramatma samahitah sito shana sukha dukkeshu tataman apmanayo. For one who has conquered his mind, for him God is already reached. For him heat and cold, joy and sorrow, honor and dishonor, they're all the same. This is not an all or nothing phenomenon. It doesn't mean that suddenly you will be completely untouchable. It comes in stages and you will experience and you will notice this stage. That yes, this used to bother me a lot before, but now this is not bothering me. This is a sign that God is giving the gift of detachment. Indeed, God has guaranteed that you will experience detachment. The more you become attached to God, the more you will become detached from the world. But to be attached to God doesn't mean that you run away from the world. It means that you remain in the world. Just like a lotus leaf remains in water but does not get wet, so also you must remain in the world and not be affected by it. So it's like a man. Let me explain to you this, because these are all I'm sharing with you, the experiences that I have had, and I'm sharing with you the experiences that others before you who have learned this message have had. So this is how I explain it to them. If you are suffering from malaria, you have raging fever, and when you try to walk around, you find that your limbs are collapsing. You will bump into the furniture, and that furniture, when you bump into that furniture, you will experience excruciating pain. You will feel weak and you will feel dizzy. But when you take your anti-malarial, when the fever settles down, when the parasite goes away, what happens? The fever goes away. And as the fever goes away, your body is soaked in perspiration. And as it is soaked in perspiration, the cool breeze from your air conditioner or your fan will lower the temperature of your body. And you will feel relaxed and you will feel so happy, you will want to lie down in bed and not get up. And in fact, you will not want to get up. You will continue to lie there. And as you continue to lie there, you will feel what's the need to get up. But finally, when you do get up and walk around, you will find that yes, you have the ability to walk around without distress, without pain, with balance, with strength, with energy. So also when the fever of attachment to the world goes down, first you will want to do nothing. And if you have been foolish and idiotic enough to jump around with orange-robed people and shaven heads, then you may well join them in the temple, or you may well join them in the forest. You may well join them in the Himalayas. You need to realize that having lost your attachment to the world, you are coming back to normal. And coming back to normalcy, the normalcy of detachment from the world, you will become more attentive to the needs of your spouse. You will become more attentive to the needs of your wife or your husband. You will become more attentive to the needs of your children, whom you will now serve, seeing God in their heart. And you will fulfill your duties and responsibilities with the greatest care and the utmost perfection. You will realize that although you are detached from your job, if you're detached from your profession, yet In this spirit of detachment, you will get clarity of vision. You will get insight into future trends. You will understand things far better than you would have understood in your fevered state. You will see through the politics of the workplace. You will see through what is happening. And being detached from it, you will not bother a whit about all these things, and you will instead engage in working in such a spirit of devotion and renunciation, in a spirit of sacrifice to please God, so that God Himself will be pleased. And God, who is seated in the hearts of everyone around you at your workplace, will comment and remark that indeed you are doing your work so well. Detachment does not mean leaving people. Detachment does not mean leaving your job. Detachment does not mean leaving society. It means having the correct perspective. It means realizing all things lie within Krishna, they are in Him and there is. And realizing that you have a job, you have a duty, you have a sense of responsibility. In the first verse of the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, अनाश्रितः कर्म फलम कार्य कर्म करोति यह स सन्यासी च योगी च न निराग्निर चाक्रियः. One who performs his God-given duties in a spirit of sacrifice and devotion to the all-pervading Lord, he is the true sannyasi, he is the true yogi, not one who lights no fire and does no work. How much clearer can Krishna become in saying this? So detachment, you be very careful, because if you are not careful, you will get complaints from your family members, you will get complaints from your workplace that you are not paying attention to what you're doing and you don't seem to care. Indeed, you will become detached, but you must care, because God cares that you do your job and your duty and your responsibilities thoroughly. So you must become more attentive for the sake of God. You must become a harder worker because of your devotion to God. You must be more attentive, more compassionate with your family than you were earlier, because now you're not doing it for self, you're doing it for God. You will be more loving towards your family. You will be more loving towards the people in your workplace, because that is the real meaning of detachment. Detachment does not mean callousness. Detachment does not mean not caring. Detachment only means that you are affected less. And because you are affected less, you are able to perform your duties that much more effectively and efficiently. See, I'm speaking to you as if you already attained detachment, because I'm 100% sure that if you're following what I'm telling you, you must be experiencing detachment. You must be experiencing detachment. But detachment only means that you must continue working with great determination. In the 12th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna clearly says, Santushta satatam yogi yatatma dhrida nishchaya Mayarpita manobuddhir yo madbhakta samay priya. Krishna says that my devotee is santushta satatam yogi. He is always content. The man who's detached from the world is always content. But although he is always content, yatatma drida nishchaya, he is engaging in the world with great determination. He works in the world fulfilling his duties and responsibilities with great determination. Mai arpita mano buddhir. You have, with your mind and intelligence, offered to Krishna. Such a person, Krishna says, is my devotee. So detachment must come. If it doesn't come to you by doing what I'm telling you, please contact me. There's something going wrong. You must start getting detached naturally. You don't have to think of being detached. Your detachment will come to you effortlessly, naturally. Your detachment will come to you without even asking for it. Your detachment will come to you spontaneously. And you will suddenly notice, hey, this doesn't affect me that much anymore. It's not an all or nothing phenomenon. You will find progressively you will become more and more detached as you follow the instructions I've given. And you will find that you are experiencing tremendous peace, tremendous contentment. But that doesn't mean you stop working. It only means that you work in a spirit of detachment, in a spirit of devotion, in a spirit of dedication to God, with the idea Om Tat Sat, that this is an offering to you, to Bhagwan. Every act you are offering to God as a flower at his feet. At the end of the day, pick up all those flowers, make them into a garland and put them around his neck. And the heavier that garland, the lighter will be your heart. And the lighter that garland, the heavier will be your heart. This is the law. You will experience it. You are experiencing it. And many of you have already experienced it. So I'm going to pause now in expectation that you will have questions on this subject.
Yes, sir. Hi, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'll read out the first question, sir. The question is, detachment isn't about not owning anything. It's about nothing owning you. Is this statement true?
Nothing can own you. Inanimate objects can never own you. So I've heard this statement before, but it's often found on the internet and so many people talk about it very pontifically as if it's the wisest statement ever. But the truth is that it's got nothing to do with, does it mean that your family doesn't own you? Of course, your family owns you. But in a spirit of detachment and in a spirit of devotion to God, you will serve your family in the best possible manner, striving for perfection as a wife, as a mother, as a father, in whatever capacity you are in that family. So, oh, nothing owns me, so I can walk off anywhere. That's not the right philosophy. If God has put you in a position in your life, that position has happened because God will willed it. Not a blade of grass moves without God's consent. So you should understand that everything that has happened so far as happened by the will of God. And if you have been placed in certain relationships, if you have been placed in certain positions of responsibility, then it is your duty to serve God by fulfilling those positions of responsibility, those positions of relationship to the best of your abilities. I hope that's clear.
Yes. Thank you, sir. So the next question we have, how is detachment the foundation of emotional intelligence?
I think I've given a talk on emotional intelligence before. And there are 3 stages of emotional intelligence. The first stage of emotional intelligence is when other people are able to press your buttons. So they can make you jealous, they can make you angry, they can make you irritate you, they can inspire, devotion in you. They can make you fall in love with them. Okay. So these are all, this is the first stage when you have no control over your emotions and other people are pressing your buttons and manipulating. The second stage of emotional intelligence is to attain freedom from emotions. You become free from the outer world influencing you. This is the stage of detachment that we're talking about. That no one can press your buttons, no one can make you angry, no one can irritate you, no one can make you fall in love with them. You are completely independent and untouchable. Then we come to the third stage. The third stage is the stage of pure bhakti, parabhakti. It is when you choose the emotion. Other people are not able to influence your emotions. You are without emotion. But you understand that in certain situations and circumstances, you need to harness the power of your emotions as a source of connection, influence, right? So therefore, what you do is that you become proactively generate emotion in yourself. Wisdom, with wisdom you select the emotion that is appropriate, and then you selecting that emotion, you apply that emotion to help to connect with people, to help inspire people, to help to guide people. Because you personally are free of emotion. You feel only love for everyone. But you know that they will not act in the world unless you show some emotion. So therefore, you now proactively generate emotion. That is the third stage. When you're using your emotions to serve God, that is called parabhakti.
Right. Thank you. There's another question that has just come up. Just give me one second. Okay, it's a long question, so I'll read it out slowly. Does detachment also mean being impervious and immune to things like promotions, achievements, attainment of personal goals, being ignored at the workplace? Do those emotions need to be annihilated in a state of detachment?
Certainly, you will suffer a lot if you are expecting things in the world. If you are expecting promotions, if you are expecting increments, if you are expecting your TVP and it's not come, if you are expecting something else and it's not come, then definitely you will be upset. So detachment helps you to experience all these things without suffering. So that is why you need detachment. But it also must make you realize that if things are not going the way they're supposed to be going, you need to talk to the Lord in your heart, and perhaps the Lord will guide you somewhere else where you will be better appreciated. Is that clear?
Yes. Uh, Thank you. I think you've already answered this question, sir, in the session, but obviously we've got it. Is physical detachment really possible with your family, friends, and things like that? But I think you've already answered this.
Yeah, and this person has not been attending my lectures from the beginning and certainly not applied any of the instructions I've given. That's the only thing I can conclude. Otherwise,
Okay.
they would have experienced this by now.
Right, great. Thank you so much, Dr. Shantanu. I think these are the questions we had this week. If you want to add something to the session, please feel free.
So, in summary, I'd like to say that if you're doing what I'm telling you, you're living the message of the Bhagavad Gita, you're chanting as I'm telling you must experience detachment. That detachment will take you from being tossed around on the roller coaster of emotions by other people and bring you to a platform of stability. But that's not from, but that doesn't mean that you should go from there to renouncing the world. But rather you should experience the world and fulfill your duties and responsibilities in a greater, with a greater sense of responsibility to please God. So you will be a better wife, a better husband, a better son or better daughter. You will become a better person at the workplace because now you're doing it to please God. That is what the purpose of detachment is.
Great.
Right.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Dr. Shantanu. Hare Krishna. We'll see you next week.
Krishna, Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
so much.